Ashley, take us away.
Hi. We're here doing our podcast again. We got very busy, and now we're in a slow season for like a couple months probably, and so we thought we'd jump back on the podcast wagon.
Slow season means writing season. There's that one quote that says, if you're bored, you're not a writer. So I can't remember who said that. I think it was a screenwriter or director. So put the quote below.
Never bored.
Yes, we never are. We've been working hard, and we'll give you some updates a little bit later about the script itself and some of the characters. It's something we've been wanting to delve into, kind of talk to you a little bit about our story and the substance of it. But first, we want to sign on to give you an update.
Yep. So like we said, we've been working really hard. I think our last podcast we did like at the beginning of last year, So in the year since, it's been crazy. We've done so much stuff. We did the temple and the parades, and we did our nonprofit, and now we're ready for our investors. We have an awesome business coach, and yeah, we're ready to go now. So
yeah, humble beginnings, vendor booths across Utah. We constructed this this facade that was Solomon's Temple. I mostly built the frame. Ashley and her mother, April, did the rest. And it looked pretty cool. You have to go to our Instagram, the Promise TV series, to check out some of that stuff. It was earlier this summer, but it looked really cool. And then they decided to build a float and go into a couple parades, and it's just this giant Book of Mormon. You know how like some Middle Eastern militaries will like have a military parade and they'll have just the Quran, like the book of the Quran, just on a giant tank.
Yep, that's
like,
what we did.
It was like that with the with Mapleton Days or whatever.
Yeah, and we were driving down the highway with the Bible and the Book of Mormon. It was like 6 feet tall off the bed of the truck. So
Yeah,
and then we ran the length of multiple parades. Really went. It was crazy. Yeah.
But anything to get the story out, get the word out that this is coming, and it's coming fast, and we are so excited for more to share you. I mean, we moved on to perfecting our pilot after wonderful notes from our friends over at Cooper Home Entertainment, and then wonderful notes from others around. Who else do we need to give credit to that gave notes?
Robert Hatch and Lee Stedman. Who else read it during the summer? A couple people now, I can't even remember.
Yeah, several novelists, and they gave their notes, and we reciprocated, and we appreciate all the support and all the feedback. It's kind of gotten to where it's at today, and we're excited to share it with you. And so, with that said, we have a script. Is it enough? Well, we think it is, but in reality, it's not. And so that brings us to pitch decks, Bible, what are they called?
Series Bibles.
Series Bibles, yeah, and things like that. And Ashley's been working hard on that.
Yeah. So we've got our pitch deck, which is what we're showing our investors about kind of the money side, the finances, the target audience market, all that kind of stuff. And then we have our Series Bible, which goes over all the details of what the show is, what it's going to look like, and the characters and things like that. So
both are super professional quality. If any producers out there or anyone in the film industry would like to see our pitch deck and hear our presentation, we'd love to connect with you. Just contact us through our social media, or if you have our contact info, Ashley or myself. By the way, my name is Alex Whiting, and I am the co-writer of the Promise TV series.
Oh yeah, we forgot to introduce ourselves.
You already know us.
You know. I'm Ashley. What's that voice?
I am Batman.
Oh, okay, Batman voice. So we're ready to raise our money. We're going to start filming our proof of concept. My goal is to film it this year, so we got to hit the ground running.
That would be the dream. I know that a lot of Utah productions are already kicking off, and a lot of cast and crew are filled up, and we recognize that. But hopefully we can find a time later this year where we can have have a good crew. I mean, the first torch we did, it was great for the production. The production quality was great for how much of a skeleton crew we had, but we're stepping up a notch because we realized that without a torch or a proof of concept or some sort of sizzle reel that is high quality and high production value, along with the script, will show people what we envision this to be. And that can't really be done. I know a lot of small up-and-coming productions that are trying to get off the ground, they get impatient, and so they don't take the time or don't have the means or the resources to gain those funds to shoot a proof of concept, because that's either going to be worth everything or worth nothing at the end of the day. So there's risk involved that, but I mean, that's film as a whole.
Yeah, right.
High risk, high reward, but we do it for the art, and that's why we love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so our goal is to make something that's super, super high quality, because I think a lot of people, when they hear, oh, this show is about the Bible or the Book of Mormon, their quality level is, they're thinking it's right here, but we're up here. So we want to make sure that we show what we're actually shooting for, and that way we can reach the budget goals that we have for our pilot episode and subsequent episodes. So, yeah.
It's true. Different I would say religious denominations have had a lot of quality scriptural storytelling in the past, and we could name those time and time again. Within the state of Utah and within the LDS culture, it's been either small budget independent people presenting their take on Book of Mormon or biblical scriptural series, or the church who has money but are they have to abstain from anything other than pure doctrine, which is written down. And so there's a formula for that, and the way that they see things. So no one's ever seen anything like this before, at least not on a standard that has to do with the Book of Mormon. And so we once again are excited to share that. And with that, we are at this point in the road. We have everything ready to go. We've got a wonderful story. We've got a lot of people who have taken the time to listen to us and hear our pitch, immediately have interest, and that's a lot of people in the professional Utah and outward film space, and we appreciate their support. That gives us a lot of reassurance and confidence that our work is good, and the story needs to be told.
Yep. So, do we want to talk about the pilot?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's talk about the pilot. We had intentions to, by the way, we had an episode 2 long lost in the archives because we had an audio malfunction. We didn't realize it until afterwards. And I don't even remember what we talked about. I think it was about the pilot. So we kind of owe that to you because our fans have been waiting.
And we talked about the name of the podcast.
Oh, yes. Can These Bones Live? Yes, exactly. So actually, real quick, while we're on that topic, can you break that down for us, Ashley?
Yeah. So this comes from a scripture that I really like in Ezekiel, when he was shown the vision of the dry bones, the valley of dry bones, and it's kind of an allegory for the gathering of the house of Israel, but also I think it really applies to us in our lives that, he saw the dead bones and they were dry. There was no life in them, no breath, nothing, and God gave them life and made them live again. So I think that's something that's really important to me. Sometimes you just feel like you're dead and nothing can ever get better and you're done. But the hope and the prayer is that God will make that for our good and give us something to live for and help us live again. And I think that's kind of reflected also in the story of The Promised, putting these characters up against some really tough stuff, and just seeing how God gives you just like that little push just to keep fighting, just to keep going a little bit longer. And so yeah, that's how I live my life. That's how my faith rolls. I
love it. And it's a testament to us all. You mentioned Ezekiel. Huh. And you also mentioned these characters. Ezekiel. Huh, that rings a bell. And later in the season. Very interesting. Huh. That's all I'll say. It is during the time frame. But what do we know?
Season 2.
Yep. Exactly.
Okay, so the pilot, we talked about it a little bit in our first episode, but it was mostly in the long lost second episode. So, I don't know, what's your favorite part of the pilot?
Oh, there's a lot of them. I love when we sat down and first started writing it, and I first started redrafting some of the stuff you'd come up with. The opening, you talked about how you wanted it to be bold, to be wide, to be big on the screen, Tarantino style. Well, I say Tarantino style because I watch Tarantino films. But so I envision that, and so just the opening really sets the tone for the entire thing. So when the audience goes into this, they're gonna immediately be like, "Oh, this is different." And then after the teaser or the cold open and the opening credits roll of The Promised, people are going to be sitting there being like, okay, this is different. All right, let's go.
This is some big stuff.
And so I would say I don't have a specific part. That one of the big, he's not even necessarily an antagonist. I guess he is, but he's not a great person. He is Jerusalem's king at the time, Jehoiakim, and he's not really competent or equipped to lead Judah up against Babylon. And so we kind of explore his character based on what the Old Testament tells us and what a lot of scholars and literacies talk about him. And a lot of several notes that we got advised kind of steering away from him just because of, the thing about pilots is it sets the stage for everything, and so there's a lot of loose ends that people be like, okay, what about this doesn't make sense. With King Jehoiakim, one thing I would say is trust us, because he's a fascinating character, and even though he's a means to an end for the greater purpose of the story, which is these two families finding the promised land, I would say that the fascination of someone as high of authority as he is, that could be at the time, yet being completely powerless over, gods or not, powerless over a situation and his people, and kind of the choices we make when we feel like we're in that situation,
Yeah. Yeah, he's been such a fun character to really flesh out, and some of these scenes that we've written with him, and even later on in the season, like episode 5, we had some good scenes. And then I'm trying to think of what else. I know a lot of people that have read the pilot, they love the ending. It's just such a big, huge, it kind of smacks you in the face.
You have to kind of process it a little bit in a conceivable way, accepting that everything we just showed you up to that point is how the time frame was, because we can assure you it was, and when you insert characters from the Book of Mormon into their Genesis, where they came from, and you start to explore and answer plausible questions that may have led to the choices that we read about in First Nephi and onward.
Yep.
So I would say that bringing it back around to kind of what this story is, although not entirely, is the Book of Mormon, because people here are listening and waiting. Okay, you said King Jehoiakim. Who's that? I've heard of him. He's
or
not.
not.
Or not. He's not in the Book of Mormon, and you're right. So let's dive right into it. Lemuel,
oh, he's our favorite. The first scene of Lemuel in the pilot is just super fun. Showing him in kind of this underground fighting arena. Kind of gives vibes of that scene in Sherlock Holmes, the Robert Downey Jr. one. You remember that scene?
I do. I love it. It's
yeah.
Classic, and it's been copied several times after in different stories. I think the latest was Roadhouse.
The Roadhouse one,
with
yeah.
Post Malone.
Yeah. Yeah, I did watch that.
Yeah, throwing uppercuts beyond his natural ability.
Yeah, right. So that's a really fun scene. We've kind of made our own spin on it. And we get to see Lemuel and Layman kind of in their element. And yeah, we love that intro of him. We introduce, I mean, all the introductions of the characters are pretty fun. But right off the bat, we get to see Nephi and Layman and their strong relationship. And, you know, their relationship is so strong in this first season so that it just absolutely breaks your heart once we get out into the wilderness and getting the plates and all those stories that... man, after writing this, I read the Book of Mormon, the beginning, and it makes me very sad now because I just think about Layman and...
Yeah, they were a family.
It's heartbreaking, really. So I'm glad to have that perspective.
Yeah.
I would say that Layman is my favorite character. I think he's got a lot of screen time.
He does. He's probably one of our leads, if not our lead.
Probably the main character, I would say.
Which is intriguing, but also it serves a purpose because we have to have questions answered by the time our families flee into the wilderness. You know, one thing Ashley and I were talking about earlier is as soon as the family reaches the Valley of Lemuel, Layman and Lemuel try to kill Lehi, their father, immediately. And it's like, whoa, hey, that's pretty gnarly. Why?
Yeah.
You know? And we kind of know why, but we don't know entirely know why. So it's fun to read between the lines. Everything we know already happens. We give a reason for it, you know, and we make it conceivable and believable enough that people will enjoy and explore it. Right? It's not gospel truth. It's not meant to be. This is a take for entertainment and soulfulness. Mm-hmm. So we're excited. I think one thing that's going to surprise people, but they will readily accept, is that we often see religious stories through the lens of our modern day, right? The standards of today. And we have to recognize that this is a long, long time ago. And for instance, Nephi, we see him always as a benevolent character, even if he decapitates someone.
Yeah.
Which he does. Doesn't matter. You know, yeah, he cuts his head off, but he's a good guy, right? No questions asked, right? But then you see him drinking wine, and you see them living their culture that is so far removed from today's values and today's cultures that it almost doesn't feel believable to us. Mm-hmm. So we're trying to bridge the gap of what's comfortable to us and believable versus, you know, how it actually was. And I think we give credence to these characters and give them what they deserve in the end, you know, their benevolence or their atrocities. It doesn't take away from the fact that that was where they lived and where they came from, you know. I mean, you get into the Lamanite Wars, and it is brutal.
Yeah.
Apocalypto style, you know. And so, and we read that in Sunday school with a spiritualist perspective, but then you take the spirit out of that and you just look at it as history, and it's terrible. It's terrifying. And so we're excited to bring that to you.
Yep, that'll be season 3.
Yes.
Along with that, we have also we're creating this kind of universe that follows the Book of Mormon as well as staying with our biblical narrative. We get to see, like we mentioned, Ezekiel. We get to see the captives in Babylon. We get to see how does Jeremiah die, and a lot of other really interesting stuff that happened at that time. So it's going to be so much bigger than just, you know, here's this little family and they're going to the promised land, because we're also exploring these other things that are happening in the big wide world. And yeah, we're just really excited. So this first season just really sets the stage for that. The promised cinematic universe is what I'm calling it. the PCU. The PCU. Yeah. Not affiliated with computers, by the way. No.
Yeah. We're excited, friends, and we'll be back with more regular podcasts and updates on our story. And if you have any questions, please reach us. You know, the contact information's attached. And we love you guys. Thanks for joining us along, and we'll see you again soon.
Bye.